And we are live on Saturday, on our usual Saturday night, which is 8 p.m. Chat session. And with me today is Jafar Gopi of Dr. Shield. Welcome, Jafar. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah, I'm great myself. We just been doing lots of CPDs, and it's nice to have a chat on something other than just purely medical education. And always a good reminder to talk about PII, especially as this is the year. It's compulsory. So Jafar has got some things to let you as doctors know, and he wants to share with you certain points which you need to be aware of before you take up any medical indemnity. So, without further ado, I'll hand over to Jafar, and he'll take you through the pointers. Okay, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Alan. So we see a lot of action in the indemnity market. A lot of doctors have started purchasing insurance because as the deadline is approaching, I think a lot of them have seriously into hunting for the right solution that fits them. So I think it's a great idea that we are doing this session today. And I thought let's make up maybe 20 minutes time to just present to them what are those things that they need to look out for before they find the right insurance that suits them. Yeah. Um, I mean, not all insurance policies are made equal. Yeah, and it's very important that they understand the finer details so that they can make an informed decision. So I've got a list of things today, maybe 13 pointers to share. Before that, need to remind what is a medical malpractice, what constitutes a medical malpractice. It's actually three things happening at the same time. A negligence must be proven, there must have been duty of care, and there must be a patient who has been harmed. If all three exist, then that is medical malpractice. And basically, that is the insurance. Insurance is to cover medical malpractice. Yeah. This is a very important definition that we need to keep reminding because till today there have been a couple of doctors who are not very sure what exactly is medical malpractice. And medical malpractice insurance is mainly to cover the legal expenses, the medical damages, and regulators' inquiries. These are the core benefits of insurance to protect medical malpractice. Right. And then the rest of it are important pointers as well, which today we will explain. Yeah. How do you choose the right insurance? First one, when someone is gonna buy insurance, I think they need to look out whether there is unlimited runoff. Unlimited runoff. What it means? This is a very important topic. When someone is about to retire, yeah, they would need coverage even beyond their active years, and that is what you call by runoff. That means if you have been, let's say, if you have been with us for 5 years, you actually get unlimited runoff, and that means you are covered throughout the future, even your estate. Yeah. So that is unlimited runoff. So we have a lot of people who have been thinking about retiring and who keep asking us, you guys are claims made. So do I need to keep paying the premiums every year just to make sure that if there is a claim that arises, you would put us under coverage? Need not be. Yeah, the answer is need not be. As long as you have been with us for 5 years, you actually can choose an unlimited runoff feature, which means within even without paying premiums continuously, you'd be covered all your life. So what happens to those who are retiring less than 5 years? You have an option of just topping up the premium and buying an unlimited runoff. So this is number one. Yeah. Number two, unlimited retroactive. Uh, this is a very important question you have to ask before you buy insurance, because what it basically means is although you are starting a policy, say today or 1st January 2021, unlimited retroactive date means your coverage starts from the day you started. That means any events that arises from the past, all your historic liabilities are taken care only if you have unlimited retroactive date. So this is a very important consideration for doctors who want to switch, especially if they have been in a very good insurance uh, policy, if they had been under, let's say, occurrence based insurance, and if they want to switch, because a lot of them are switching now, because occurrence based insurance companies, um, some sort increasing the premiums, and it has been a pattern, and we also expect that pattern to carry on. Yeah, the occurrence based insurance companies would have no choice but to keep increasing the premiums, because that's the way it is, right? So when these doctors who have been insured by a occurrence based insurer, when they switch, the first question they want to ask is my historic liabilities taken care? And do we have unlimited retroactive date? Yes, this is a very important point. Dr. Shield does come with unlimited retroactive date, which means you account from day one of your practice. Aggravated damages. So now the court has been making judgments which includes aggravated damages, not for all but some. And a lot of insurance policies do not carry this benefit. That means they pay for the legal expenses, they pay for damages, but not aggravated damages. Aggravated damages are more than the medical damages. Aggravated damages are damages that are punitive in nature. Yeah, they, maybe the court wants to make a statement out of a particular event, and they penalize the doctor, right? To set an example, maybe. So it's important that your policy carries aggravated damages coverage. Local capacity to pay claims. So we are proud to have actually capacity in Malaysia itself. We are backed by the largest publicly traded insurance company, CHUB, and CHUB has been very supportive of this scheme. Yeah, and they give us full capacity to underwrite this Dr. Shield scheme. Yeah. So yes, it's very assuring to know that in the event of a claim, you need not go beyond more than one layer to have that sorted. The final say is in Malaysia. The final person who's going to settle your claims are in KL CHUB. So that was very reassuring. Auto reinstatement. How does auto reinstatement works? Auto reinstatement is a feature that some doctors would like to keep, because in the event of a claim, for example, someone has $1 million sum assured, and they face a claim, and that 1 million gets blocked out. Yeah. Uh, which means literally, if this incident happens in April or May, by May the policy lapses, and for the remaining part of the year they may not have a policy that protects their profession. At that point, should you go and hunt for another coverage? Insurance companies are not going to be keen to give you another 1 million just fresh after a claim. Yeah? And therefore, auto reinstatement works perfectly fine, because it gets replenished. The policy is back with another $1 million. So you see through the entire year, and then you have more time to negotiate your terms with any insurance company that wants to take care of you the following year. Yeah. It's always going to be a difficult negotiation right after a claim, and auto reinstatement solves the problem, at least by some time. Yeah. And not all policies comes with auto reinstatement, and we are proud to have that. So just watch out for it. Third party cyber. Third party cyber coverage. This is, I think the importance cannot be overemphasized. Almost every doctor out there is holding on to data, medical records, which can be leaked, which can potentially cause problem from typically important clients. And should the doctors be sued for such a leakage, someone has to pay. And not all insurance companies, if I'm not wrong, I think almost, I don't know. I don't know of any other insurance companies that actually covers you for third party cyber. And we thought this is extremely important. Yeah. We thought this is very, very important because we are moving to the age uh, where everyone is holding on to data in their mobile or in their laptops or in their computer systems. Important data that can potentially also be a problem if it gets leaked, if it goes to wrong hands. Free sole trader extension. So this applies to doctors who are also clinic owners. These applies to doctors who are clinic owners whose clinics are sole proprietors. If you're Sindhyan Bahar, I think we have mentioned in the previous sessions, if you have a Sindhyan Bahar will be deemed as a separate legal entity, and therefore, in the event that your clinic gets named, you definitely need to insure because your insurance won't step in to cover your clinics. Yeah. In the event of a sole proprietorship, we have something explicitly called a sole trader extension, which means your sole proprietor clinics will be covered by your individual policy. You have any questions at this point, Alan?
No, I think so far so good. Nobody has made any comments yet. I think they're waiting for you to finish
Okay.
your points first, and then we'll see if there are any questions
Okay.
from the floor. Yeah.
Uh, this is a very interesting feature that we worked out. Um, we we wanted to create something for the medical officers as in our numbers we see that the medical officers make a very big portion of the entire healthcare. And should we charge them? Because traditionally, these medical officers are charged according to the risk exposure. Yeah, because a lot of medical officers, depending on their seniority, could be involved in very high risk exposure. And if we charge them according to the risk, the premiums could be hefty. So we wanted to carve out something that makes a lot of economic sense for the entire medical officers. Let it be a medical officer from a government working locum or a private hospital medical officer. And what we did is we came up with a very unique category just specially for the medical officers, and we charge them a flat rate regardless of their risk exposure. So I think uh, that is definitely something which we look forward to adding value to the medical officers.
Can I interrupt you? What is the flat rate here for the medical officers?
That means we don't ask for their specialization. We don't ask what's your risk exposure. So as
So
long as you're a medical
how
officer,
much do you have to pay?
for 1 million, that it starts with 1 million. It's 1100. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a base coverage. 1 million is the starting coverage, and it's 1100 for all. Yeah, and personal accident coverage. So this personal accident coverage is complimentary for all doctors who are actually insured by Doctor Shield. $100,000 coverage is given to them. Yeah. So I think this was inspired by a couple of queries during the early days. They were asking, what if a doctor gets hurt, and what happens if should they be fatally injured? And we thought, okay, that's fine. That's rare, but let's add a personal accident coverage of 100,000. And this is not only limited to during medical practice, this is throughout. Yeah, this could be a result of any personal accident, even out of medical zone.
Let's say if
Sudden,
they are driving to work and then they end up in an accident, that covers
yes,
them.
yes, it's 24 hours. Yes,
Mm, right. Also, there have been some reports I remember in the past about doctors accompanying patients in ambulance, and then the ambulance ends up in an accident. So the question is, will the government, because a lot of them are medical officers or junior doctors, so is there any compensation from the government side? And if I recall, I think there's hardly any. So if the doctor doesn't have any accident insurance or life insurance, I think that's something the junior doctors need to be aware of. Yeah.
Clinic indemnity. So I think we spoke about this in the previous session. Dr. Kevalji was there with us to actually share with us his own experience. Yeah. We have factored in clinic and indemnity on the website at marginal cost. That means it is almost like a rider. It's almost like a rider for an individual coverage at, at just a fraction of the cost. So if someone were to buy a clinic indemnity as a standalone, they would perhaps pay 3 to 4 times of what we are quoting on the site. Uh, this is basically done because we interviewed a lot of doctors and we spoke to a lot of lawyers also who did agree that yes, clinics get named in suits, and that can be quite a surprise for many doctors. So we wanted to close that gap, and that is the reason why we have added clinic indemnity at a marginal cost. And within few clicks, when someone buys indemnity insurance, they can just add on their clinics. Yeah. So loss mitigation. Hmm. This is, I would call it my personal favorite. Yeah. I would call this my personal favorite because loss mitigation is something which very, very rare in the market. The reason why this is added to Dr. Shield policies, I have to mention at this point, not all CHUP policies are same as Dr. Shield CHUP policies. Yep. Dr.
Lim,
Shield.
Dr. Lim is saying the sound is soft. I'm hearing it all right, Jafar. Are the others hearing the sound is soft? Anybody can post a comment for us to get feedback. It will help us improve the quality of the broadcast. Let us know if you can't hear. Maybe Dr. Lim, you might turn up the volume on your device. Maybe it's just the volume. Yeah, because I'm using earphones and I can hear you quite well. So okay, sorry, Jafar.
Yeah.
Carry on. Loss mitigation. We'll just
Loss
move on.
mitigation. Yes. So loss mitigation, I was mentioning, it's my favorite because um, this is to reflect that we are very sincere about settlement. This is a clause to mention that we have a budget to solve problems even without it goes to litigation. Loss mitigation is is a budget that allows you to settle issues, yeah, even without going off to major litigations. Yeah, so that's a budget that which is specially acquired for Dr. Shield. And I remember now what I was about to say. Uh, we have a lot of questions where people asking us, are all CHUP policies the same? Um, Unfortunately, no. Dr. Shield CHUP policy is unique, is special. It's a sort of a premium compared to the rest of the other CHOP policies. Yeah, you'd see that at least 5 or 6 unique features that Dr. Shield CHOP policy has would not be in the other CHOP policies. Yeah. So loss mitigation is one of it, which basically actually sets aside budget to solve issues, to reduce problems before it flares up. Lawyer of your choice. Uh, so, what is this lawyer of choice? I think this has been mentioned a lot of times that we are the only one who actually allow a lawyer of your choice. In the event of a suit, a doctor has the right to nominate that this is the lawyer that he prefers. Of course, this lawyer should have some medical legal background and must be approved by CHUP. But why are we so pro towards this lawyer of your choice? Well, if you ask any doctor who has been through a suit, yep, was he happy with the way things turned out, and uh, was it the best way? Was everything according to his wishes? At some point, he may have problems accepting whether the lawyer was uh, fully representing him. or was the lawyer actually meant the best for him? Yeah. So we wanted to solve this particular problem. And that's exactly why we said, okay, let's bring in a lawyer that you feel very comfortable, who you think that is representing your interest best. Yeah. Or else it's just going to be endless litigation and endless problems. And we see the entire policy is meant to solve problems fast so that the doctors can go back to work. And everything that we have done is to facilitate that. Get the claims done, let's move on fast. Let's not drag the case and where everyone loses. And if you look at exactly whatever we have done, is all focusing on that. Let's solve the problem fast. Because I think everyone in my team also feels the same, that a doctor should be allowed to go back to work fast. And that is the reason why he wants to choose doctorship. And the last point, we are completely online. This is something which I have to emphasize. A lot of people come to the site, but they do not want to try the calculator, which actually baffles us. Yeah. The calculator allows you to give premiums uh, within seconds. You can actually try the code. You don't need to submit any details to us to get a code. You actually get a code on the spot. And if you proceed thereafter, you can actually buy the plan on the spot. You get your policies instantly. Somehow, I think some doctors have not been convinced that it is actually an online instant quotation site, online instant policy site, and online policy renewal. So it is true. Yes, we actually allow you to buy um, a policy within 10 minutes. We ask you 8 questions, you get your policy on the spot, and you can renew your policy within 3 minutes. You get an OTP, you confirm. The entire information is pre filled. You check through it. If everything is okay, you just pay and you collect your policy on the spot. So, yes, these are reasons and these are the pointers that I wanted to go through with you. Um, Hoping that you would make an informed decision of what your insurer should offer you. Dr. Allen, any questions?
No particular questions from the people watching. Have you all got any questions to ask? I think it's very clear. Um, the thing is, it's a very crowded field out there now, practitioner indemnity. So I don't know what are the things which make you stand out, or what's a differentiating factor, Jafar? I mean,
We set out to be comprehensive. The reason why we set out to be comprehensive is because we wanted people to buy online, and we didn't want to have caveats and give reasons why a claim cannot be paid in future. We wanted it to be seamless. We wanted it to be not a lean, cheap policy. Because if you sell something cheap, you're going to have problems throughout your life explaining why a particular protection is not comprehensive. That's not what we wanted. So we wanted to give something comprehensive, and therefore we fought for all the best of features like unlimited runoff. We didn't want you to think unlimited retroactive. We didn't want you to worry about the past. Aggravated damages. We didn't want to come and say, hey, sorry, aggravated damages are not paid. No, we didn't want that. We wanted to make sure that you feel safe. And that's number one. We want to be comprehensive and comparative. We wanted to give you something comprehensive and yet comparative and convenient. So,
i-
yeah, carry on.
is auto reinstatement a feature seen in other indemnity? I'm not sure. You know, since you brought it up.
Yeah, all these features which I've listed here today are not common sites. They are not usual features of all insurance companies. So some may have some may not have some. And some may give those um, additional additional, yeah. So maybe they give you this an additional price or customized solution, but it is not a norm. Because we wanted to do this online, we want to make sure that yes, we give it all, yeah, and we want to make it competitive so that because you see the thing is when you're opening up with all the premiums and all the features, it also means that you are putting yourself up to comparison with anyone out there. And doctors are doctors, they are smart, they can make an informed decision, they know how to read between the lines, and they know how to do very sincere, serious comparisons. So there's no way we can pass through with something inferior. So if you ask me what makes us stand out, I think we came out with a product with, of course, the support of a lovely partner, Chubb, and we have an amazing technology team, and we have amazing support from the ground. A lot of associations, a lot of doctor clients. I think that's how we understand, and we also acted on the feedback. So if perhaps tomorrow someone tells us that what, maybe we should add something else, maybe we should make this more suitable for the doctors, we are all ears for it. We definitely react to your feedback.
Okay. Anyone have any things you want to clarify or any doubts or general questions about medical indemnity? Jafar is here to help answer. Do you want to show any comparison chart or shall we just leave it?
I think, yeah, I need to just emphasize on this. The website is thedoctorshield.com. When they go in, they'll be able to calculate their premiums, choose what they want. They buy it on the spot. They will get an email with the policy. They will also get a summary document that they need to use to submit to MMC for their APC renewal. Yeah. And in the website, actually, all the questions and answers are there. In fact, there's a guidebook, a PDF that also contains information, even comparison sites. Yeah, I think almost all the information that we know has been transferred to the website. So if there's any, and yes, if there's any questions not answered, they can always approach the consultants who are on WhatsApp. So if they go to the website, there's also a WhatsApp icon which they can click and speak to the consultants.
Okay. That was very concise, Jafar. Uh, let's see. No questions. There's still some people watching, but no questions. So, well, can I just share the upcoming talk just to remind the
Yes,
doctors? Yeah,
please.
I think Dr. Shield is helping us get a series of medical legal talks. We've already had one on the process of when you're called for medical inquiry. But the next one will touch on the topic of mediation. And the speaker is Ms. Shanti Abraham. And the stream will come to you again in DOPS Facebook group on the 14th of October, okay, 2020. So please go to dops.my/cbd and register so that we can send you the details, the exact link where the stream will be going. Okay, we hope this will be of interest to you. So I'm also quite keen to hear what she has to say. I understand she's quite a learned and very interesting speaker on this topic. Yeah.
Yes, she's
Mm,
very passionate about mediation.
mm. Okay. So back to Dr. Shield. All right. It's a question here. Any mechanism to protect insurer if Dr. Shield decides to leave the business? Okay, over to you.
Any mechanism to protect insurer if Dr. Shield decides to leave the business? Uh, okay,
Other
so I think
protection that runs many years later. Yeah.
yeah, so I think maybe it's very important that we explain the mechanism of how Dr. Shield is. Dr. Shield is a platform owned by Jar Assure. It's a broker, agent, which do not have any liabilities or profit from the insurance premiums. The insurance premium goes to the insurer, and the liability is with the insurer. So their question about what happens, yep, should Dr. Shield leave the business? It's actually it's okay. Yeah, even if Dr. Shield leaves the business, the insurance is with Chubb, so Chubb should not leave the business. Yeah. So of course, now coming to Chubb's securities, Chubb is, I think, one of the world's best. Yeah, AAA. So if you could read up on them, you would know that they are one of the biggest in the game. Yeah. And of course, insurance companies are Chubb. They are deep pockets. Yeah. So I think that that answers that question.
Can they sort of like transfer to another broker while maintaining with Chubb, or will Chubb assign another broker?
If
That
Dr.
that's
Shi
one
leaves the
thing.
business,
Yes, just I think that
yeah,
might be.
even if Dr. Shield leaves the business, yeah, Dr. Shield is your agent broker, yeah. The policy is actually with Chubb, so Chubb may assign someone else to service you, but the liabilities have not been transferred. The liabilities have always been with Chubb, will always be with Chubb.
Okay. All right, that's quite clear.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
I think the other point, which which I would like to share at this point, mm, claims made versus occurrence basis insurance companies. Yeah, in an occurrence based insurer, um, the liabilities gets snowballed. Yeah, for example, someone at the age of 30 starts with maybe 20 years of practice, and every year is accumulating liabilities, which all gets built up on a occurrence based insurance book. Whereas on a claims made insurer like Chubb, it is limited. At any point, it is limited to the sum assured. So if you have just done 1 million with them, their limit is 1 million on you. It does not get added on. That means for the last 20 years, it just doesn't snowball. And that is why all insurance companies, almost all of them, are more, they are actually claims made basis. And
Can you
even
explain
runoff,
again how that, to for us as a doctor,
mm,
with this unlimited runoff, we don't seem to see much difference between claims based and occurrence based now.
correct. Yes.
So, but yet, how can the we be reassured the premium is not going to snowball like occurrence based mechanism?
Yes. Occurrence base, basically, there is no limit to the liability, number one. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, it is adding on to the liability limit. See, basically, because there was no limit to the liabilities, we can't put a stop to it. We can't say, sorry, the maximum that I can claim for the last 20 years is 1 million. Correct? But whereas in a claims made, we can always put a limit because that's what you paid premiums for. Yeah. So that is the first differentiator. The limit is the liability is limited when it comes to a claims made compared to a occurrence base. Number two, when you do a runoff, basically what they're doing is they have taken, let's say, your runoff cover is 1 million. Yeah. And we are expecting you to be insured for, say, 5 years. Yeah. That 5 years, we set aside 1 million sum assured. We have taken enough premiums to ensure that that 1 million is reserved for you even after you retire. Yep. So it works out. It works out because we have already made that premium and set aside. Because it doesn't mean that during your retirement years you're gonna keep more and more cases. Nah, it's limited to 1 million. So those premiums have already been collected. So that's how the runoff works. Unlike occurrence
Mm.
based, it can actually snowball and can come in multitudes, but it doesn't work with claims made.
Okay. Any other questions?
Actually, we should do one entire session on the difference between claims made and occurrence based, because it is a very huge topic. And
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
I think something, these are terms where some of us may, getting a medical indemnity for the first time also, I had to learn what do you mean by claims based, what is occurrence based. Yeah, so without naming names, I think there's only one occurrence based at the moment in Malaysia. I don't think there's any
yes,
others.
I suppose so. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there's only one big one who is occurrence based. I think all the others are claims based,
correct.
right? Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's difficult to sustain, and the only way to sustain is to uh, collect from the rest, and therefore the premiums will definitely go up, and that trend can't be stopped.
And even the occurrence-based ones for certain specialty, but notoriously obstetrics, I think even when they stop working, they have to continue paying to be covered up to a certain time.
Yes,
Yeah. Mm.
true.
So yeah, that is becoming more difficult. So I've had colleagues who in higher risk categories who want to switch, but they didn't know anything about this. They thought that they still have to keep paying the old one when they switch. So they didn't. This concept about retrospective cover was.
Mm.
You'd be surprised how many are not aware of it.
Mm.
So if you switch and then you're still covered from the day one you start working. This is something which I was not aware, and some of my colleagues are not aware. So
Yeah.
something
Also,
to
when they switch,
consider.
they also have to make sure that there is no exclusion. Yeah. So sometimes when they are switching from occurrence-based insurance companies, some
Mm,
insurance companies may put some exclusion and may not give retroactive date. So that's why I've given this 13 pointers here so that they can. I'm sure that they will refer back to this video and
mm.
make sure that they are not um, shortchanged.
Yeah. So you have to check with whatever insurance. Say you want to switch from occurrence to claims, you got to make sure that you are covered from day one you start working. So that's retrospective, unlimited retroactive cover. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I think this list is a good list for anyone to capture and check through whatever policies that they are paying. If these are available somewhere else, yes, of course, then it's a good buy.
Like if like this, it's quite good thing to switch from one to the other. Just like we switch mobile carriers nowadays, keep the same number.
Yes.
So if you're not happy with one insurance, you can change, especially if you're confident that you'll be covered
Correct.
from day one you start working. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
See, that's perhaps that's the inspiration, because we did not want to if agents misrepresenting or walking everywhere to promote these sales, and we had to be transparent, and that
Hmm.
is why we are confident to actually tell you, look, this is what you would need, at least from a professional point of view. If you think you need this coverage, and then ensure that these are covered in whatever choice you make, that's okay with us. At least we have done our part.
Okay. So that adds confidence. All right. Anybody else? We For the medical officers, you say flat rate, but there's also a lower rate they pay if they just want to be covered for disciplinary action, isn't it, Jafar?
This is actually for medical officers working locum
Hmm.
and private medical officers. But there is another segment for government doctors that is 250,000. Some assure it's $300 350 ringgit, and that covers for their regulators' inquiries. If they're not doing locum, they can just take that. That should be fine.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's
So,
also worth mentioning that we have paid a lot of attention to markets that are not usually cared for. For example, the part-time specialist and the semi-retired specialist. We are very confident about this, about caring for these segments. I think um, we have done well for pricing for these segments. Government doctors working locum, medical officers working locum, part-time specialists, and semi-retired specialists. We are very confident that I think we have done a good job for them.
is there a segment that they select in the online quotation if they're part time?
Yes, there is a segment specifically for part-time specialists,
Mm.
semi-retired specialists, government doctors working locum, and medical officers.
So that's a separate category they can choose, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
And of course, I think the GPs, general practitioners, needless to say, with their free soul trader extension, I think they would definitely find us very helpful.
Yep. Okay. No other questions. I think the if you can't read the text on you're using a mobile, the video is still there, so you can actually watch it again and then blow it up, take a screenshot, or just take a screenshot and blow it up, and it's a good reference. So when you want to buy any medical indemnity, if you've not bought before or you're considering switching because your current one is getting too expensive, you got to run through all these points. I think it's actually very, very useful, practical points, Jafar. So we
Thank you.
thank you for that. Yeah. So I think there are only about 2 months left before you get fined for not renewing your APC. So that's December. I hope there are still doctors not struggling out there renewing the APC. I got colleagues saying online and merits, it's still under review. Under review, what does that mean? And it's under review for weeks. Oh gosh! So I really hope my colleagues out there who haven't had their their APC renewed get it done by December, because I think the deadline is by early December they have to renew. Otherwise, there's a fine. But I don't know what happens. But certainly it shouldn't be because for lack of medical indemnity. So again, government doctors do not need medical indemnity unless you do locum, and that is even 1 day of locum, you better be covered. Mhm. Or if you a government doctor who just wants that assurance of being covered in case of any disciplinary inquiry, then you can get a small cover for only a few hundred ringgit a year. At least get peace of mind. You don't have to pay out of the pocket, to engage a lawyer to help defend you in case of disciplinary inquiry, because the government is not going to cover you for that. Okay. And for doctors doing medical officers or specialists doing locum, you may want to consider what the point, especially for medical officers, there's a flat rate for all. That's interesting, no matter what the risk for these MOs doing locum. Um, okay, so I think that's very cool, very interesting. So always nice to hear from you, Jafia. Yeah, I think it's very kind that you've shared all your experience in insurance and your thoughts on medical indemnity. So I think we've talked for about almost 45 minutes. So that's taken quite a lot of your time. So I think with that, we will wish everybody a great weekend. See you all on the medical mediation talk by Ms.
Shanti.
Shanti Abraham on the 14th October. So go to dobbs.my/CPD and please register. Um, because I haven't quite decided where to stream it other than Facebook. I might stream it to the new site called ViewStub as well. So please go there and register so that we can give you all the information Okay, and it should be an interesting talk. So, see you all on the 14th of October, and there's more coming next month as well. A complete series on medical legal matters. Okay, so I wish everyone a good night and a great weekend ahead. Yeah.
Happy
Okay. Take
weekend.
care.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Adam.
Take care.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
Ravi. Bye bye.